How's it going, everyone? Jared Couture here from Kung Fu Music Lessons, and in this lesson we're going to be working on bending. Alright, so bending is super fun to do and it sounds really awesome. There's so many ways we can bend, but let's go ahead and jump right into the technique of how to do this. So we're going to take a C major scale to help us start out. I'm going to use this C note here on the G string. Let's start here, the 5th fret of the G string, okay? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So we're going to play these notes, one string, okay? And the idea is we're going to bend up to each note. So C to D. So what I want you to do is first play the note and hear it. C, D. I want you to listen. And then we're going to bend from C to D. So you're going to check and then bend. And I want to say when you're bending, you want to get right behind the metal bar, right behind the fret, and you can use more fingers to help you out. So when we're bending, it's easy to use more than one finger to help you bend the note. It would be really tough to just do one finger. I mean, you can do it, especially depends on the size strings you have, but you can use other fingers. And a lot of times they line up right in your scale patterns. We just leave them where they are. So anyway, C, we're going to play C to D and hear it. Then we're going to bend it. But I'm going to put 3 fingers behind this anyway, like this. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to play with my 3rd finger, C, slide up to D. Now go back and try to make that, bend it, and make that D sound the same. Sometimes it's easier to have your thumb over the neck when you're bending. Now listen to that C right there. Now I'm going to let the bend away, and then just play C. Versus. See, we bent right into it. Don't want to go above it, or not far enough. We want to try to. Try to be right in there, okay? Now you could put your thumb over the top to help. You could also just pinch on the back and it will work. Both will work. The lower ones are definitely harder to bend. Let's go ahead and move up. So now we're going to play D, E. So we try to bend into it. D, E, and then we're going to go. So it basically sounds the same. You can do it slow first and listen, and then check it. If you're real close, you can put a little out. You can just find the sweet spot. Try to hold it right in tune. Okay? Now we're going to go to the next one. Only a half step, not a whole step. E to F. It's going to be a lot easier. E to F. One thing that sounds really great to do on bends is to vibrato at the end, like bend into it and then vibrato at the end. Sounds really cool. So F to G though, F to G, we hear it first. Every time I want you to listen, every time first. Ba, G. They can sound the same. G to A. And now, if it is a little out of tune, just a teeny bit, using that vibrato really helps. Because you kind of bend you vibrato right around the targeted note. Sounds really beautiful. Really works. Sounds great a lot of times. So G to A, now we're going to do A to B. So now, there it is though, straight. But then, I'm going to go and add a vibrato. Sounds beautiful. B to C. Right, here's B, C, and then just a little bit. Not so much. So that's step one of being able to bend and be in tune and sound great. Bending is awesome, but it really can be not so awesome whenever we're out of tune or too far up or something, too high or too low. Sometimes it can sound really bad when it's just being held on a note that's not quite right there. So this technique, what we just did, is a great thing you can do. I'll also say you can check out Guthrie Govan has a series on bending. It's really good. I learned a lot of this stuff there, so I would recommend checking that out. Thanks for that, Guthrie. And anyway, one string at a time, and then do every string. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and start here on the 5th fret. E, F, E. So we can use all of our technique now. Slide, or hammer, or bend. Now we got F, G, we're gonna go. And then G, A. C, D, C, D, D, E, D, E. Now I'm just going each note all the way up the fretboard. Each string, A, B. Some of these are harder than others. B, C. C, D. D, E. E, F. F, G. G, A. A, B. B, C. Different ways. Every string. Even the low ones. It sounds so cool. Here's A minor. This is something people do a lot. Here's A, C, D, E, D to E, D to E. I'm on the A string. I'm going to pull down. All the way, a whole step. Now, if you got light strings on, it can be pretty easy to do that. Super easy. These are 11s. These are not so light, not so heavy. But these kind of ways sound awesome too. These bends. So here's C, D, E, right? C, D, E. D, E, F, D, E, F, E, F, G, E, F, G, G, A, F, G, A, G, A, B, A, B, C, B, C, D, C, D. So we get to do it on every string, one string at a time. Next step after that would be to bend it into tune without listening first. So I'm gonna start. We start over right at the top. Here's C, right? C to D. So this time no listen, just bend into it and then pull it back. I went right to it before hitting the note. Bent up into it, not like hit and bend. Just try to be right at it. You can check it. Here's E, F, little out, F, G, right, G, A, B, B, C. So this is like the next step, being able to just hit right into it without having to slowly rise up. And then another way would be to hit it. So here, C, D, E. So I'm gonna bend into E like we just did without slowly rising, just hitting it right in it. And then slide, and then bend it back down. It's like sliding down. So we'll go F, E, the next one. Next one, G, A, G, B, A, C, B, and D, C. This way too, and then vibrato at the end also sounds nice. And we can mix all these up. Hammer-ons, pull-offs, vibratos, slides, bends to get some really wonderful techniques. So this is the place to start, would be one string at a time. Next step is to realize when you're bending a note, you're bending it into You have to know where you're bending it to. You're bending it to the next note of the scale, like we just did. So if we're playing A minor pentatonic, like we have on these, we got to be able to bend. We're bending into an actual note, like very commonplace. Like, here's a blues scale. Or bend it straight to the 5. 1, flat, 3, 4, 5, A, C, D, E, so A, C, D, E. It's commonplace, starting up top, bend it down. And then pull off. And you can mess with it and really milk it and really play with certain things, but realize you're just going A, C, D, E. Very common kind of blues lick. People do this one all the time. Bending the 4 up to 5, but then you actually hit 5 right here. Let go, hit it, and then 1. So that's kind of like going. So, same thing as going 4, 5, 1, but we went 4 up to 5, then hit 5, and then 1. 3 hits, 1, 2, 3. And then the other normal blues bend right here would be the pinky right here on the G note and hit it up to the root A. Some normal kind of blues licks. One thing that's really normal in rock and blues, like here's the A minor scale. And the Jimi Hendrix kind of thing, or like rock thing, is like, here, this note's a whole step below it. That's a G note, that's an A note. So I'm gonna take the note under it in the scale, bend it up. Now I got the 2 of the same notes, 2 A's. Gives it a cool fat sound. 2 B's, 2 C's, 2 D's, 2 E's, 2 F's, 2 G's, 2 A's. This is a cool thing, but you got to be careful. Like this note, this string is just playing the notes of the scale. So not all of them are whole steps. Like G to A is a whole step, A to B is a whole step, B to C is a half step. This one. That sounds really cool. Half step and then bend it in. But you could just play the scale like that and bend in. And this kind of thing happens a lot in rock and roll and stuff. So here's some basic things you can do with bends. There's a lot more to talk about, honestly, but this is the way to get started. 1 string at a time, bend to each next note, and then just know when you're playing any scale pattern anywhere, if you're gonna bend, you're bending into the next note of the scale. Like I said, that was going into the next note of the scale. Or like this went into that note. Instead of doing that, I went, or here's G, right? G to A. So we're actually bending notes into the next note of the scale. It's like, that's how you know where to bend and which ones will work. They will all work if you go to the next note of the scale. All of them will work. And those half step ones are easy and they sound cool. Whole steps, a little harder. But anyway, here's some basic ideas on bends. That'll get you started, and we'll work on this in our lessons together. See you around. Get to practicing. Have fun with this. See you in the next lesson.